Oh my god. Oh god, I think I pulled a muscle that time actually. Oh, whoa. Man, these boom tubes are getting worse and worse every day. Quiet. Thank you. Oh my god, I gotta do something about the ride. Oh my god, here we are again. Deep in the urban primordial jungle that is downtown St. John's, Newfoundland. Way out on the east coast of North America, as far as you can get in North America, comes in the Library of Graphic Literature with your host, me, Wallace Ryan. The Mad Librarian. Okay, not a half bad week this week. A few good things. Oh, Downtown Comics. It's the most easterly comic book store in North America, and one of the finest comic book stores east of St. Mark's Comics in New York City, New York. Hey Mitch, shout out to you guys there. So actually not a half bad week. A couple of books here. We'll zip through those. This week, of course, is Free Comic Book Day week, which will be Saturday. So drop down to your local comic book store, and while you're picking up some free comics, do us all a favor in the industry too, and buy something too with it. Because I mean, unbeknownst to a lot of people, even though it is Free Comic Book Day, your retailer actually does pay for the comics. So you know, give back to a little bit to the industry that you love so much, and we know you love us. A big shout out and a hello to Mike DeCarlo, and for those out there in the comic arts community, it's now as we say, the time to gather around and support a fellow artist. Mike's wife was involved in a serious car accident. She was hit by a uninsured driver and all that, and it's put him in quite a pickle. And of course, everyone in the comic book world is concerned for you, Mike. So if you want to help Mike out, there's a GoFundMe page. As a matter of fact, you'll find the link probably on the Library of Graphic Literature page too. So let all good comic book people come to the aid of Mike. Okay, thank you for that. We love you, Mike, and everyone is cheering for you and Tracy. Big love. Okay, gonna make me cry if I keep on doing this. Let's start out with from Master Comics, one of those old companies, Dark Mysteries. Another one of those fabulous books from PS ArtBooks. This, of course, I like how they have all the stuff on the back here. Joe Orlando, Wally Wood, Lou Cameron, Bill Molyneux, Doug Waldie, all bringing you terrible tales from the 50s. Tales of horror and mystery and darkness. Yes, darkness, lots of darkness. Anyway, I do love these old books. I mean, sometimes it's not as great reproduction as in some, but I mean, I still love them just because there's just something with these books that, to me, they have a real pulpy feel to them. So for some reason, they actually, I think, suit the era in which they were taken from. Oh, look at this cover, hey? Talk about cool, what? Okay. And like I've said on the earlier shows, when I was younger, I always thought that, oh my God, the art in the Golden Age sucked. Oh, I love these ads too, by the way. I like looking at, seeing what people were into in the old days. But the more and more I got to read them, the more and more I began to fall in love with the entire Golden Age. I mean, there was luridness to and sort of an unbridled undertone of violence to everything that seemed to come out during the early years of comics, and I love it. Now this is of course another one of PS ArtBooks pre-code classics, as they call them. So this one, as it says here, is from 1952. 51 to 52. There's some old comics there for you. So yeah, for any of you who are into horror and the like, give Dark Mysteries a try. Okay, let's move along here. Let's haul out the blade. The blade of death. No, no, don't cut me open. Yes, you must be cut open. No, please, I'm not sure what my plot lines are like. Oh, I'm sure they're good enough. Oh, that hurts. Oh, oh God. Okay, now. Ooh, 0 Hour. Crisis in Time. Blah. I actually remember when this came out. I had a store at one point called the Daily Planet. Cool name, eh? And I can remember this. This is Zero Hour was sort of like an attempt to I don't know if it's fix the damage that Crisis had done to the DC universe, or just make it even worse, or whatever. Which I love that symbol there too. Which in some ways I think it kind of did at the time. I mean, there were some cool stories in it, but still I preferred. I'm actually one of these people who prefer pre-Crisis, and that's why I like the sort of new Reborn, because it has the feeling of the good old-fashioned DC universe. But you know, Dan Jurgens and Jurgens and Ordway did a bang-up job anyway in terms of the story and the art. 0 Hour. So yeah, it's you know, it's a nice little read. It's one of these, of course, like Heroes chock-a-block here. What do they think this is? Infinity War? More superheroes than you can shake a stick at, eh? And there we go. There's Parallax, as he was known for a while there. The old Green Lantern at the time. But oh, I love these old sketches, these little sketches in the back, stuff like that. But yeah, check it out anyway. You know, seems like it might be good for a laugh, anyways. Ooh, let's see this. Ooh, nice hardcover. Love hardcover books. As a matter of fact, you'll notice too, for the most part, not just some really, all the books I review or talk about here in the library are hardcover books, and that's all I collect. I do collect some softcover books, but not. I have probably about 50 as compared to over 2,500 books, hardcover books. So I went with hardcover books right from the start when I started collecting 25 years ago in terms of collecting hardcovers. Because as I mentioned, I had a store myself, and when I closed up my store, I'd sold off my entire childhood comic collection, which was quite extensive, and so I was left comicless for the first time since I was a teenager. But when I closed the store, I had some leftover Marvel Masterwork, stuff like that, so I began collecting those, and it grew and grew from there. And I stuck with hardcovers, because hardcovers, to me, they lasted an awful lot longer than soft covers. Sewn, binding, the whole thing. A good produced book should, you know, really last centuries. And you're just not going to get that with soft covers. And unfortunately, it had a bad side effect, because I always wanted to eventually one of these days either open a library or donate my collection to some institution for a library. And but then a lot of them started to go up in value. I mean, books I bought a long time ago that weren't worth anything, and slowly but surely they all took off in price. But well, yeah, just in case anyone is wondering why I go for hardcovers, they're just so darn cool. Okay, next here we have from our good friend Aline Kominsky-Crumb. Love that bunch. It's a collection of Kominsky-Crumb's work here. So are you Crumb fans who also like Aline's work? Check it out. She kind of reminds me as Jason Conway at Downtown Comics was saying, sort of has a Julie Doucette sort of feel to it. So, you know, very underground look to it. So, I don't think there's anything by Crumb in this one, and of course, who would want that to be? This is her book. Oh, there she is. But, yeah, for you people, you completists who like a little bit of everything out there, check out Love That Bunch, Aline Kominsky-Crumb from the fine folks at D&Q, Drawn and Quarterly, one of the avant-garde companies, or most avant-garde comic book companies I think out there today. You guys are great, and they're in Montreal. Okay, Carnet de Voyage. Speaking of French, travel diary. Excuse me. A travel diary by the author of Blankets. So this is like a travelogue. Excuse me, actually, I forgot my tea over here, in the other corner of my studio here. What am I thinking? I talked about comics without tea. The man must be mad, you are saying. Mad. Anyway, I'm a big fan of Craig Thompson from his Blanket and Habibi days. And this is kind of cool. It's, you know, it's a travelogue. It's a travel diary. I guess, you know, I guess it is a graphic novel in some ways. You know, I look at the work of like this guy Delisle for Drawn and Quarterly also. I mean, he does these travel books, but to me, they are graphic novels. You know, some people, oh, that's a travelogue or whatever. It's like, no, it's a graphic novel in a whole different form. So these are cool because, I mean, they give you a sense of the travel, because you'll have, you know, pictures and little stories thrown in here. So it really does give you a sense of, you know, like some of the people he met along the way. So this is, I can't wait to have a look at this, actually. Having been a bit of a traveler myself, I like the idea of traveling. You never know who you're going to meet, what's going to happen. Trust me, that's very true. So this one, this looks really cool. I love his style, though. I always loved Thompson's style. Very fluid, beautifully drawn. Now this guy can draw. I've seen some people in comics who, you know, they're good storytellers and all that, but they just can't draw. Okay, let's go through it. We'll try this one first. From Hartley Lin comes Young Francis. Now I bought this, this is from Adhouse Books. I bought this because I picked up the comic Pope Hats, which this is basically takes some stories from. Young Francis is, I think it's 2, 3, and 5 of Pope Hats. And I'd read part of it and it looked really cool, so when I seen this, that there was like a Pope Hats book, I guess is the best way to put it, it was just like, oh, I had to get that. Lin's work reminds me actually a bit of Craig Thompson, but there's a little bit more cartoony in a weird way. But absolutely like I say, there's just a great sense of storytelling. The story just moves along. Even just looking at a page and just looking down through a page, sometimes, which I do, you can tell there's a story being told or whatever, even without reading it sometimes. But of course I will read this because big fan. So yeah, Young Francis, check it out. Here, I'll even check it out up close. So I love Hartley's style. Sort of a neo-realistic, cartoony style. Almost like a cross between, it's hard to say, you know? I won't say Hernandez, there's like a bit of Archie in this. I can see a lot of influences, of course. Even like a bit of Hergé. Maybe even like just a tad of Watterson. Anyway, check it out. Young Francis. Okay, now, really zipping through the books here today. Last, but definitely not least, by any stretch of the imagination, is The New World, comics from Mortein. This is from the New York Review of Comics, I do believe, yeah. By Chris Reynolds. So let's pop this baby open. This I've never seen before, so, but I mean, I've seen a lot of people talking about it here and there online, so it was just like, get this. And plus it looked kind of neat too. And I figured if New York Review of Comics are the people who put it out, it's got to be pretty good. Oh yeah. Let's have a quick scan here before I press, yeah. Ooh, very heavy. Heavy on the lines. Okay, so, this new collection, as it says, ooh, edited and designed by the acclaimed cartoonist Seth. Way to go, Seth. Love your stuff. Includes a selection of short stories, the novella The Dial, and the full-length Mortein graphic novel. It is the ideal guide to one of the most underappreciated cult classics in the history of comics. Can you imagine that? Someone being unappreciated in the history of comics. In the world of comics. I can't see that. So yeah, it's sort of a very interesting, very simple style. Lots of black there. So yeah, it looks kind of halfway interested in it. I'll give this a read at some point there now. But very, very heavy on the black. I kind of like it actually. It's such a simple style. To me, I'm one of these artists or people who believe that simplification is also sophistication. Yeah. So yeah. All in all, this looks pretty darn good. Oh, actually, I did have one more book over here on the side. Ooh, actually, it was another. It's another PS art book. We'll have a look at this quickly, and then I'm gonna have a cup of tea, and then set this whole thing to processing. Oh, delicious, delicious. Gotta love the tea. Mysterious Adventures. The art of Walter Johnson, Ed Goldfarb, A.C. Hollingsworth, Lou Cameron, Harry Harrison, and yada yada yada. This one, I thought this one was also, from Story Comics. I love finding out too all these different companies that were around way back in the 40s and 50s. This one being from 51 to 52. There's all these companies that are no longer with us. St. John's, Master, Story, Mainline Comics, all kinds. EC. But once again, this is just like the other one. A lot of good old-fashioned horror comics from way back then, and of course, lots of super cool ads too. Like I've said before when I've been reviewing these, one thing I always liked about these is the fact that they left a lot of the ads in. Oh, of course, a lighter, advertising lighters to the children. That makes perfect sense. Then again, when you read some of these stories, I think were more or less aimed more at a slightly older audience. Oh, there we go. Love those. So yeah, like I say, this 50s and 40s and 50s comics, 30s, 40s, and 50s, the golden age. Oh, look at this. Charles Atlas. Definitely had a real a lurid feel to them, a real pulpy feel, I guess, like I said before. But yeah, so I know there are other PS art book fans out there too, so I know I'm not alone in liking them. Like I say, there's sometimes the reproduction may not be top notch on them, but reading the story and all that, for some reason, I found it really cool anyways. So I guess that looks to be it for this week, folks. Sip of tea here first before I take off and leave you to your devices. Oh, yeah, that's a nice stack of books there, isn't it? Yes, anyway. So hopefully now, I don't think I got a lot of books next week. I'm hoping to do actually a special episode of In the Library of Graphic Literature with my granddaughter Sophia. You see, I always mention in my videos, hi Sophia and stuff like that. And hi Sophia. She's of course I got her into comics and all that, and she had a few graphic novels and all that she really enjoyed, and so I figured, hey, I'll invite her onto the show and get her to talk about them. They won't be shot in this location. We'll probably shoot them at her house. But we did a dry run. We talked a little bit about the books she likes, and she did a pretty bang up job actually. So I'm looking forward to that. That being said, I guess happy May the 4th, and happy Free Comic Book Day. And of course, all you folks, get out there and see the Avengers Infinity War. Everyone so far seems to like it, so, and I'm going to go out and check it out next week anyway. In the meantime, I'm going to summon one of those boom tubes that you hear all about. Yes, boom tube. You heard me. Yeah. There we go. There is it. Boom tube music. Where is it? Oh my God. There it is. Okay. Gonna have a dive into it and end up in the apocalypse. See you next time in the Library of Graphic Literature. Bye! Yeah!